Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Maree and Jasper. So today I actually want to ask you first, how are you? Have you stopped this week just to sit, just to reflect and to actually contemplate where you're at on an emotional level, on a physical level, mental level and even spiritual level? Our days can get so busy and we can get so overwhelmed with what we're doing, we forget to stop and just sit and breathe. We may even meditate in the morning. We may be doing our 5-10 minutes, whatever it is we can fit in, but we don't stop and actually ask ourselves, where am I at? And sometimes this is what can create even more chaos in our life because we're not getting that subtle message. We're waiting until it becomes, you know how they say you get the feather first to give you the message, and then you get the brick, and then you get the semi-trailer. So the idea is to try and get to before even the brick hits us, so that if we're really in tune with our being and with how we're feeling and what's going on, we can actually do that little a stitch in time saves 9. So, which is quite relevant for today. So today what I want to talk to you about is karma. I think last time I mentioned that we were going to be talking about karma. Now this karma is not a 4-lettered word. A lot of people go into fear when they hear that word karma. So my intention today, as I light the beautiful candle, as I always do for our ritual, to actually bring through that intention with peace and with really having connection with our beautiful inner divine being. So my intention is to be able to have a way and have a strategy to bring through more peace and forgiveness for ourselves. So, and we'll talk about that later. So I'm going to be doing the meditation more towards the end of the session today. So first thing I want to do though, I actually want to tune into Jasper. And I want to ask Jasper if he can show me in a different way to what my understanding of karma is, what karma is. So I'm just going to close my eyes, and as I tune in, I've already centered myself so that I'm connected into my divine essence and I'm very protected. And I'm going to ask Jasper, can you show me in your way, from your perspective, what is karma? He's got a very naughty sense of humour. So what he's showing me is we're coming through the light, and then there's this strip of dark, and then there's a wall. And he said, we get a bit lost in the dark, hit the wall, and bounce back out into the light. Thank you. It's actually not a bad way of explaining maybe how we all interpret karma. So, you know, I've even said it myself. When someone's done something that's not so great, it's maybe hurt someone or a lot of people, or it's really made a situation quite chaotic. I've often said myself, oh, it doesn't matter. That karma's a bitch and she'll come and bite them in the ass as soon as it's right timing. So maybe we need to step back from that sort of way of thinking, because a lot's changed now with karma. So with karma, for me, I've actually sat back and looked at it and gone, well, if we create our whole universe and we create our experience, surely we've created our karma that's even coming from someone else or that is going out from us. So there's karma and then there's dharma. So next time we're going to be talking about dharma, which is, to me, is actually paying it forward, holding a space of love and grace, and actually creating positive experiences for oneself and for all those around us. Whereas karma is creating what we've all thought, or well, I've thought, creating, it's like a payback. It's like I've done something wrong, therefore I'm going to actually receive something negative back, and it might hit me when I least expect it. So, and you know, people have said, you know, we reap what we sow. And that could very well be the case. I feel though, with this new frequency coming onto the earth and the fact that we are ascending or expanding into a much higher, finer frequency, things are happening a lot quicker. And that's why at the beginning, I said, how are you going? Have you stopped to reflect, to contemplate where you're at? So I'm just going to read from here. So there is, for me, soul contracts are one form of karma. So the soul may have agreed before it comes into an experience on earth as a physical being to have certain experiences that give it the ability to, whether it's to experience abandonment or to experience some sort of loss or sadness, or whether it's to experience betrayal, to then find what is the gift from that. So that is a form of, and especially if that's been done to other souls. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It can simply be, well, you experienced that last time and I saw what you got out of that, so I actually want to experience it this time. So that can be our soul contract, or what we might even call a trauma that we have to go through. Okay, so, and for example, it's interesting, I had a friend and she had there was probably 3 or 4 of them. They were in nearly 20s, 21. So it's a long time ago. And they were driving in the country and they had an accident and she blamed herself and they all died except for her. So by the time I met her, this had been pushed so deeply down that there was a lot of trauma with that. And she had been doing a lot of self-karma on herself. Like, how dare they die? And I survived and I killed them. And it was really interesting because I'm also a medium. It came through and they said to her, you were the strongest of us all as a soul. We knew you would be able to cope staying alive because we all wanted to experience leaving this physical container together at a young age. We wanted to be healthy. We wanted to die at a young age, but we wanted to experience it together. And so her soul contract was to be in that situation. So that's really tough. So you can imagine someone would actually maybe put karma on themselves, think they deserve something bad to happen for that. She said it nearly saved her life knowing that. So things can be turned around with some understanding and insight. So the second thing that I want to talk about is our self-creating thoughts. So we can sometimes be our harshest critics, and we can just be so negative in our head. I know a long time ago I noticed this, and it was like a record playing over and over all these negative things, and I was going, why am I doing this? So I did a lot of self-help books, and I actually made some definite commitments to really catching myself out if I had these negative thought programs going in my head, and I would replace it with about 10 positive things. So this didn't take as long as I expected, but what I started to notice was that I found I had better things happening to me, and I actually had quite unusual gifts and money and things coming into my life, even more than I would normally have. And I started to realize that our self-thoughts and what we tell ourselves is actually what we create. So if we're thinking very negatively about ourselves in particular, then we can actually maybe attract that in the real world through others. And some people will even speak those words to us that we put into our own head, but we've just got so used to it. So in its own way, that's creating your own karma. So be very mindful of your thoughts. And it was interesting because I've heard about this a long time ago, but I was just rereading about this wonderful, he was a psychiatrist, Dr. Hugh Len. Now, some of you may have heard this story. It's about oponopono. Now, some of you may have heard of that as well, which is a Hawaiian type of forgiveness prayer. So they believe that if we acknowledge, we forgive, and then we give gratitude, that is a way of releasing anything that is maybe built up to be karmic within us as well. So this amazing psychiatrist, apparently there was this criminally insane ward in this hospital, and a lot of the psychiatrists had left. They couldn't handle it. It was really dangerous, and a lot of staff were leaving, very low morale. So he came in and he said, just give me a room and give me all of the files of this criminally insane people that are in here. And what he did, he actually sat there, and every day he would go through a file and he would say, what is it in me that is damaged? What is it in me that's hurting? And he took responsibility for someone else's insanity. And he would do this ho'oponopono with him through himself for them. They said within 6 months that whole ward had been closed down because they were either discharged or they'd gone to another part of the hospital because they no longer were violent and they just needed help on that physical level. It was unbelievable. So today, this is what I'm actually going to talk through with the meditation with you, is this ho'oponopono. And but the first thing I'd like to do before we go into that is to actually pull a card from our Sacred Earth Oracle cards. I did the animal magic last time because I'm really getting a sense that there's been a shift in our consciousness, and I'd like to connect in as to what is going on in our consciousness, global consciousness for all of us, because that can actually affect us and can sometimes pop us off center. So let's have a look now and see what comes out. As I said, sometimes these will pop out. We have one that's done that. As you can see, it's flipped over, and fascinating. It's interesting because this beautiful card is patterns. And when I look at it, I can see these repeating patterns, and the hands are sitting over the heart. So when we look at oponopono, it's helping to release patterns. And as I said, sometimes those patterns of thoughts, those negative thoughts that we can have about ourselves. And it's interesting with patterns because I actually started to understand all of this and how impactful it was on our life because I'm also telepathic. And so I was picking up on a friend of mine, but I was getting all these thoughts about her. They were negative thoughts. And I went, I don't feel like that about her. Why am I getting that in my head? And I went, I got it. It was like an aha moment. Her patterning was to go into this negative thought patterns after she felt she'd done something that wasn't as good as she could have done it. And so when I went to her and I was going to see her, and I said, is this what you've been thinking? And she went word for word. And I said, so what you're doing is you're projecting out your thoughts, and people are picking it up. They think that's what they think about you, so they're going to say it back to you verbally. It was a really, really good lesson for me. So patterns, really worthwhile looking at our own patterns. How is it we're being mean to ourselves? How is it that we're maybe projecting onto others? Do we react? Is that a pattern? So global consciousness, to me, it feels like there's patterns that are being broken, and change can create chaos. So if you're feeling there's a bit of chaos, stop, reflect, ask yourself how you're feeling, and look at what your needs are in that moment. So that's what I'm feeling from patterns this week. There's a lot of beautiful blue coming through there as well. So it's also about expressing our truth, but doing it in a really gentle way. So thank you, Patterns card, for coming up. I'm going to pop them away. And then we're going to do our beautiful oponopono meditation. So, as always, when we meditate, always make sure you're sitting comfortably, feet on the floor or lying down in a receptive state, because I will be running some energy and frequency for you with this. And when we're actually saying the words, which I'm going to tell you now so that you know what they are, I want you to put your name at the end of that aspect. So for example, if I'm doing it, once I get to this part of the meditation, I'll be saying, I love you, Maree. And then, I am sorry, Maree. Please forgive me, Maree. Thank you, Maree. So I want this to be particularly aimed for you, to be looking after yourself, to be doing some releasing of whatever it is, of patterns that you need released at the moment. And also just notice what thoughts come up as we're going through this process. Is there anything physical that might pop up? You might have had something happen 10 years ago and that can pop up. You might find you get emotional. Brilliant. Let it come out. Don't try and stop it, okay? Because it's a beautiful healing prayer. So, and you can do this whenever you want. You can do it, you're driving in your car, you can do it anywhere, okay? Especially if you start getting negative thoughts about a situation or about yourself or about others. This is beautiful. So we're going to start as always. We're going to start by, as I said, sitting comfortably, feet on the ground or lying down, and we're going to just gently close our eyes to start. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, let yourself drop into your body. Another breath in. And this time as you breathe out, take your awareness into that beautiful heart space. And as you drop more deeply into your heart space, see, sense or feel white light beginning to bloom, beginning to expand through your heart. And as it does so, it releases any pain, any blocks, and helps bring through your divine essence, your beautiful higher self presence into your awareness. Now this white light just keeps expanding through your whole being, out into your aura, clearing cords, hooks, any ties you don't need to others and situations. And at the same time, bringing through a deep sense of peace. And now, while you're in this place of peace, I want you to say to yourself, I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Just allow yourself to keep saying these words. Whatever thoughts come up, allow them to come through. Release them. And then when you're ready, we're going to gently come back into the here and now. Bringing your awareness back into your body. Focusing on your breath. Wriggle your toes. And then you can gently open your eyes. And I know I felt a sense of peace come through then with doing that. So I want you to just take note, and if you've got a little journal or something, write down what it was that came up in your thoughts. What did you feel that maybe was released? And really take note of it, because this is something, as I said, that you can continue to do, and you can sit in it for as long as you want. So even just listening back to this or recording it for yourself, just onto your phone, can often be helpful as well. So that's, to me, is karma. I feel karma is definitely releasing, happening quicker, but releasing at the moment. So I'm going to leave it there, and please take time out this week to remember to be kind to yourself. Notice your thoughts, change them up if you have to, and try that oponopono for yourself. Okay, bye.